In the Adbai Desert, archaeologists have found 260 tombs where none should be. Vast, circular grafts, hiding a secret for thousands of years. For centuries, this stretch of eastern Sudan was considered empty, a blank space on the map between the Nile and the Red Sea. But from orbit, a different story emerges. Using satellite remote sensing, a team from Macquarie University and France Haisoma Research Unit saw something impossible. Patterns. Hundreds of them. They are called enclosure burials. Massive circular walls, some stretching 10 meters in diameter. They date back to the 4th and 3rd millennia BCE, just before the rise of the first pharaohs in Egypt. But it's what they found inside that changes things. Think about a burial. You expect a single body, perhaps some artifacts. Here it was different. One researcher, Julien Coupe, documented the team's findings. We kept finding large, circular mass graves filled with the bones of people and animals, often carefully arranged around a key person at the center. Humans, cattle, sheep, goats, all buried together in these monumental rings of stone. This wasn't an isolated discovery. What seemed like random sites now form a coherent picture. What seemed once isolated examples emerge now as a consistent pattern, the researchers noted. A pattern suggesting a common nomadic culture. A ghost empire stretching across a vast desert, existing right on the edge of ancient Egypt. A civilization we never knew existed. So you're probably thinking, this is incredible. Let's go dig them all up. But here is the part nobody talks about. The part that keeps archaeologists awake at night. Most of these sites will never be excavated. In fact, they are disappearing. Right now. The official report is stark. Sadly, many of these enclosure monuments are currently being destroyed or vandalized as a result of unregulated mining in the region. Think about that sentence again. These unique burials have survived for millennia, but can disappear in less than a week. A 5,000-year-old story, erased for a few grams of gold. Out of 260 of these newly discovered monuments, and countless others like them, only 3 have ever been properly excavated. 3. The rest are being ground into dust by bulldozers. So the question isn't just who were these people, but what secrets are we allowing to be buried forever, for a second time? What secrets are we allowing to be buried forever, for a second time? This question echoes across the desert sands, not just in Sudan, but in places you might never expect. You see, the deliberate sealing of an archaeological discovery isn't always a dramatic clandestine operation. Sometimes it is a grinding destruction. In the Adbai Desert, the enclosure burials, some 10 meters across, are vanishing beneath the treads of heavy machinery. Think about that for a moment. These monuments, built by a nomadic culture between the 4th and 3rd millennia BCE, survived for 5 years. Now they disappear in less than a week. This isn't a conspiracy. It's a consequence of unregulated mining. Yet, other sites around the world reveal different forms of sealing, sometimes by designs, sometimes by circumstance. Consider Petra, Jordan, a city carved from rock, famous for its treasury. For 2 centuries, archaeologists have investigated Petra. They have walked its streets, explored its tombs, and mapped its intricate water systems. But in August 2024, something extraordinary was found beneath the treasury itself. A sealed burial chamber. Josh Gates of Expedition Unknown was there to witness it. He described it as a hugely rare discovery. He added that in the 2 centuries that Petra has been investigated by archaeologists, nothing like this has been found before. Inside this chamber, undisturbed for millennia, lay 12 complete skeletons. What stories do you think these individuals could tell us? How did they come to be entombed in such a place? And why was their resting place so meticulously hidden? This discovery offers a direct counterpoint to Zeresher in Sudan. Here, a chamber was sealed by its original builders, preserving its contents. Dr. Pierce Paul Kreisman led the team that made this astounding find, working with the American Center of Research, ACOR. Their careful excavation revealed not just bones, but a glimpse into a moment frozen in time. The very act of sealing, in this case, became an act of preservation. Yet, the work is far from over. The analysis of these skeletons and any grave goods is ongoing. We know so little about the lives of these 12 individuals, páni. And the purpose behind their elaborate burial remains a compelling mystery. Then there is Gibraltar, a place known for its iconic rock and its strategic position, páni. Deep within Vanguard Cave, another chamber lay hidden. This one, sealed not by human hands, but by nature itself. For at least 10,000 years, this section of the cave remained untouched, páni. When archaeologists finally opened it, they found an ecosystem preserved. Bones of lynx, hyena, and griffon vulture lay scattered, páni. Imagine stepping into a space where no human has set foot for tens of thousands of years. What would you expect to see? What sounds might you imagine echoing through the ancient darkness, páni? A large whelk shell, an artifact of an ancient meal, was also discovered. It tells a story of prehistoric life, of hunting and gathering, long before recorded history, páni. The natural ceiling of Vanguard Cave provided an unparalleled window into the past, páni. It offers a stark contrast to the deliberate destruction of the enclosure burials and the intentional secrecy of Petra. Three very different forms of being sealed, páni. One by nature, one by ancient humans, and one by modern industry. But each raises a fundamental question. What happens when these secrets are finally revealed, páni? And who decides what remains hidden and what comes to light, páni? What happens when these secrets are finally revealed? And who decides what remains hidden and what comes to light? These are not simple questions, páni. Sometimes, the revelation brings wonder, as with the 200 complete skeletons found in the sealed burial chamber beneath the treasury at Petra in August 2024. Other times, it brings conflict, páni. You might think archaeological discoveries are universally celebrated. They are not. Sometimes, the truth is inconvenient. Sometimes it challenges established narratives, páni. Consider the Great Pyramid of Giza. A monument that has stood for thousands of years, its mysteries seemingly exhausted, páni. But in November 2017, using muon tomography, scientists announced the discovery of a large hidden void within its structure, a space previously unknown, páni. Imagine standing at the base of this ancient wonder, believing you know its every secret, only for science to reveal a new, unseen chamber. What do you think would happen next, páni? You would expect immediate investigation, unfettered access, but that was not the case. Zahi Hawass, Egypt's former Minister of Antiquities, was critical, páni. He stated, "They found nothing. This paper offers nothing to Egyptology. Zero. A dismissive response to a scientific breakthrough. This resistance raises questions. Why the skepticism, páni? Why the reluctance to explore further? It suggests that some discoveries are not welcomed, especially when they disrupt long-held beliefs or political agendas. This is where the narrative shifts, páni. From the accidental destruction in Sudan, to the intentional preservation in Petra and Gibraltar, to the deliberate suppression of inquiry in Egypt, páni. The Great Pyramid's void remains largely uninvestigated. Access for further study has been limited. It makes you wonder. What could be inside that is so sensitive, páni? Or is it simply a matter of controlling the narrative? Then there is Kiladi. In Sivaganga district, Tamil Nadu, India, archaeologists started excavations in March 2015, páni. They began unearthing evidence of an ancient urban civilization. Amarnath Ramakrishna, an archaeologist with the Archaeological Survey of India, ASI, led the initial work, páni. The findings were significant. Pottery, beads, tools, proof of a sophisticated culture. But here's where it gets complicated, páni. The excavations at Kiladi became a focal point for political and cultural debates. Accusations emerged that the central government was attempting to sabotage the findings, páni. Think about that for a moment. An archaeological site yielding precious insights into a region's history becomes a battleground. Why, páni? Because the findings might challenge existing historical interpretations. This isn't about finding treasure, this is about rewriting history. And some powers do not want history rewritten, páni. So, instead of celebration, you see obstruction. Instead of funding, you see delays. The site itself becomes a symbol of a larger struggle, páni. It's not just about what is found, but what it means for identity, for power, páni. And now pay attention to this. A controversial bill in Israel aims to extend Israeli control over archaeological sites in the West Bank, páni. Critics, including many archaeologists, argue this is a de facto annexation, The past, literally, becomes a tool for political control in the present. This isn't just about preserving artifacts, páni. It's about owning history. It's about claiming heritage. And when you control the past, you control the present and the future, páni. So, while the enclosure burials in the Adbai desert vanish under bulldozers, unseen and unheard other sites are being fought over. Not for their secrets, but for their political utility, páni. This is the dark irony of archaeology. The very act of uncovering the past can become a weapon, páni. What was once buried is now exposed, not to the light of knowledge, but to the glare of political ambition. And in this arena, the truth itself often becomes the first casualty, páni. The truth itself often becomes the first casualty. You can see this tragic reality unfold in the Adbai desert, where výsadishisté enclosure burials, some 800 meters wide, are being erased by unregulated mining, páni. These monuments, built by a nomadic culture between the 4th and 3rd millennia BCE, have survived for millennia. Now, they disappear in less than a week, páni. It's a grinding destruction, not a sudden dramatic sealing. Yet, the outcome is the same. History is lost. Think about the people who built these circular graves, páni. They carefully arranged the bones of humans and animals. This suggests a deep reverence, a connection to their past. What would they think if they saw their sacred places being torn apart for profit, páni? It makes you wonder, what is the true cost of our modern ambitions? Meanwhile, the sealed burial chamber discovered in August 2024 beneath the treasury at Petra offers a different kind of challenge, páni. Dr. Piers Paul Kreisman and his team, working with the American Center of Research Corps, found 12 complete skeletons there, páni. Imagine the silence of that chamber, broken only by the whispers of the past, páni. Josh Gates, who witnessed the discovery, described it as a hugely rare discovery, noting that, in the 2 centuries that Petra has been investigated by archaeologists, nothing like this has been, páni, found before. But now, these 12 individuals, their resting place undisturbed for centuries, are exposed to our world. What responsibility do we have to them? To their stories, páni. The very act of opening their tomb, while a scientific triumph, also carries a profound ethical weight. You must ask yourself, are we honoring their legacy or simply satisfying our own curiosity, páni? In Gibraltar, the opening of a chamber within Vanguard Cave, sealed for at least 40 years, presented a similar dilemma. When archaeologists finally entered, they found a frozen moment in time, páni. Bones of lynx, hyena, and griffon vulture lay scattered. A large whelk shell, a testament to ancient meals, offered a glimpse into prehistoric life, páni. This accidental sealing by nature preserved a world we could only imagine. But now that it is open, how do we protect it, páni? How do we ensure that our presence doesn't inadvertently destroy what time has so carefully kept hidden? This is the paradox of discovery, páni. We seek to uncover the past, to understand who we are, where we came from. But in doing so, we often expose it to new dangers, páni. The Great Pyramid of Giza, for example, holds a large, hidden void discovered in November 2017. Yet, further investigation has been restricted, páni. Zahi Hawass, Egypt's former Minister of Antiquities, was dismissive, stating, "They found nothing. This paper offers nothing to Egyptology, páni." Zero. This resistance, this active discouragement of inquiry, suggests a fear. A fear of what might be found, or perhaps, a fear of what might challenge established narratives, páni. What if the truth is simply too inconvenient? What if it forces us to rewrite history? And then there is Kiladi in Tamil Nadu, India, páni. The excavations there, led by K. Amarnath Ramakrishna of the Archaeological Survey of India, ASI starting in March 2015, uncovered evidence of an ancient urban civilization, páni. But these findings became entangled in political and cultural debates. Accusations arose that the central government was attempting to sabotage the discoveries, páni. Think about that. A government actively working against the uncovering of its own history. It is a stark reminder that knowledge itself can be a battleground, páni. This isn't about protecting artifacts, it's about controlling identity, about shaping a nation's story, páni. So while some sites are sealed by the sands of time, or by careful human design, others are sealed by neglect, by greed, or by deliberate political will, páni. The past is not merely a collection of facts. It is a living thing, constantly being interpreted, debated, and at times suppressed. What will you choose to protect? Páni. And what will you allow to be lost forever? Páni. What will you allow to be lost forever? The question hangs in the air, heavy, uncomfortable. You might think this choice is made in grand halls of power or by sweeping government decrees. It is not, páni. It is made in 1,000 smaller moments. It is made by the driver of a bulldozer in the Adbai desert, who may not know he is erasing a 500-year-old story, páni. It is made by a local official who looks the other way. And it is made by you every time you decide which stories are worth listening to. But there is another side to this, páni. A current of hope that runs just as deep. The same satellite remote sensing that revealed the 260 enclosure burials is a promise. A promise that even in the most desolate places, secrets are waiting, páni. The teams from Macquarie University, Frances Hysoma Research Unit, and the Polish Academy of Sciences are not just looking at the past. They are inventing new ways to see it. Think about that, páni. We are tools to find the ghosts of an empire we never knew existed. And yet, the clock is ticking. The unique burials that have survived for millennia can still disappear in less than a week, páni. This is the central tension of our time, the race between our ability to discover and our capacity to destroy. In Petra, the work of Dr. Piers Paul Krasman's team has only just begun, páni. The 12 skeletons found in August 2024 are not an ending. They are a beginning, a dozen new books waiting to be read, páni. In Gibraltar, the 14th-year-old chamber in Vanguard Cave reminds us that history is not just human, páni. It is the story of lynx and hyena and the echo of a wave that left a single Hulk shell on the cave floor. We are taught to think of history as a finished text, páni. A book written by others that we are simply meant to read. But that is a lie. Every new dig, every contested claim from Kiladi to the Great Pyramid proves that history is not a static monument, páni. It is a live debate, a story being written and rewritten right now. The past is not dead. It is not even past. It is an unwritten history, and the pen is in our hand, páni. Which leads to one final lingering thought. We search the deserts and plumb the depths looking for the story of us, páni. But perhaps the greatest discovery we can make is not a city of gold or a pharaoh's tomb. Perhaps it is the humbling realization that the story of humanity will never be complete, páni.